the important thing here is that what is this going to do? First of all, the money's going to go to the top again. The financial centers, they're going to take it and gamble in the markets with it and try to patch up their balance sheets. Nothing's going to go down through the cracks to the public. And at this time as well, we have foreclosure gate, and then we have the three major lawsuits. One of them, a RICO lawsuit, for rigging the silver market against J.P. Morgan Chase as well as HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank Corporation. And that's going to complicate things. Then we have China saying, hey, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing, and a number of other nations as well. We had Brazil say, hey, look, we're going to take even further measures. They already put a 6% tax on U.S. dollars, hot money, going into their economy. And many other countries are going to do the same thing. And so that means that the dollar is not going to be welcome in many places because it's depreciating in value. But even as importantly, when that money, that hot money, goes into another country, it brings its inflation with it. And that's that much inflation that won't leave America and will stay bottled up in the country, which will compound our problems with inflation in America. Of course, the stock market likes it, and you've seen that it went up, and it'll probably trade for the next month and a half or so in this general area. Then I expect it to correct. And the price of gold and silver, there's no stopping it. I just feel sad for the tragedy. It's so many of these letter writers had people getting out of the market, looking for lower prices to buy back in. And I've told people over and over again, please don't trade the market in coins or in shares. It's suicidal. The market's rigged. You can't win. So it's been very disappointing to me. And I'm sure to the people who tried to get out and get back in again, and now they'll have to buy at higher prices. And learn a good lesson from that. This is about the 10th time in the last 5 years this has happened. And that's why I speak of it, because it gets old after a while.
Now, Bob, let's quantify this amount of quantitative easing, dollar devaluation, what this is going to do to the economy in the next month, 6 months, the next year. And then I want to look at any intel you've got on bank holidays.
Well, first of all, I think it'll keep the market from going precipitously lower. It will allow institutions, for the most part, to buy more treasuries. It will liquefy the upper echelon of finance. But again, it's not going to help the people who are hoping that the value of their home doesn't go down. It's not going to help them get a job. In fact, I think unemployment's going to get worse between now and next June. Maybe another percentage point up to 23 3/4, 24, maybe even to 25. It's going to take a while for this money to start to circulate, although the Fed has spent about $100 billion since June surreptitiously in the repo market, which is the bond market essentially, and that's their way of injecting funds into the economy, supposedly secretly. And most of the people on Wall Street don't realize what they're doing, but there are a handful of us who do. And the other question was, Alex?
Well, I think you answered it. This $600 billion to $1 trillion to $2 trillion that's being discussed in the next 8 months being injected, what happens after they're done injecting that? Because you predicted this injection coming within 1.5 to 2 years of the October banker bailout of 2008. So tell us what you see them doing after this 8 months. That's one question. And then the second question to that is, why do you say over $2 trillion will be injected? And I see economists saying the same thing. They look at what the Fed's doing and they say, well, this really represents $2 trillion.
Well, we'll go back to the middle of May on this program. I said $5 trillion for 2 years. Nothing has changed. And the new administration, with the new Congress, is not going to get any stimulus to speak of. So it's going to be all the Fed. So it's $2.5 trillion and $2.5 trillion. That's $5 trillion. Maybe $4.5 trillion. Who cares? It's a lot of money. And that's what they're going to have to do to keep things going.
And what will they do next? After this money's injected, what will they do?
I think it depends upon how much inflation there is and how successful it was. It'll keep the banks afloat and Wall Street. The stock market won't plunge to 1,000. But they're going to have, I think, 14% inflation next year. And if I'm right, the public's going to be all over them, and the Fed's going to say, hey, you can't have everything. You know, we're trying to save the economy, and that's the price we got to pay.
Well, that's right. They continue to hold us hostage. We know where their policies lead, total rack and ruin, instead of reversing all of this, erecting tariffs, because China and others have them on us, just being fair, stabilizing the dollar, capping the budget. I mean, these are some of the simple things that Rand Paul and Ron Paul are calling for. Meanwhile, the media has now begun the talking point, Bob. I know you've seen it, that Rand Paul and the Tea Party people coming in, that their fiscal responsibility, that's going to cause the Depression, knowing full well the bankers took us into the Depression. So now they're going to blame us for what they've done.
Well, that's okay. We get very strong backs. and especially you. You're much younger than I am. But the guy to talk to, along with me about this, is Paul Craig Roberts. He's really got his hands on it.
We had him on yesterday.
And he's terrific. I really like him very much. And, you know, what this is going to lead to, the hot money not being allowed to leave the country, barriers being set up, and that's all going to lead to tariffs on goods and services. And it's the best thing that ever happened to the country. He agrees with me on that, and I think he's the only one in the world that does. But we've been around long enough to know it works. And all you have to do is look at history back to 1800, and it's really helped our country. It's helped make it great. And so we got to tell everybody else in the world, look, we can't be the engine of success anymore. What we've got to do is put up 40 or 50% tariffs on everything. And I know you don't like it, but that's all we can do.
Well, that'll make all that foreign investment come here and build factories.
Well, they could do that, too, but I don't think they're going to do that because they want to use cheap labor.
But if the tariff's big enough, it equalizes that.
That's right. Level playing field is what it's called. Yeah, if people jack around their currencies, you grab them.
All right, Bob, stay there. I want to get into this. Head of the 10th largest bank saying it's a mathematical certainty we go bankrupt. What does bankruptcy mean to this country? Let me tell you a little bit about one of our great sponsors, HomeGain.com. This is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting any real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com and see what I'm talking about. All you need to do is type in your home address, and you will get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. This is a great way to be able to monitor the value of your home. And again, it's absolutely free. There are tons of tools to help you. For instance, if you want to remodel your home, go to HomeGain.com. Use their Home Sale Maximizer to help you determine which home improvements can most increase your home's value before you put it on the market. For 10 years, these folks have been helping home sellers and buyers. Visit their link at Infowars.com. Look for Max, the orange home gain gorilla, to help you with any real estate needs you might have. You'll love this site. It's HomeGain.com. HomeGain.com. Check them out today.
Is it really possible to get out of debt without payment plans or attorneys? 18 years ago, we developed a program that has made thousands debt-free in just 90 days. It's called Zero Debt in 90 Days, and it works for all credit card debt, medical bills, even collection lawsuits.
When I first joined, I was being sued. So I used the program methods, and after filing one piece of paper, the collection lawsuit was dismissed.
With Zero Debt in 90 days, your success is guaranteed in writing. There is no other program of its kind. Don't be alone when creditors gang up on you. Let our team of experts provide the resources to fight back and stop creditors in only 90 days, guaranteed. Prevent wage garnishments, bank levies, and stop collection calls with our proven program. Call Zero Debt in 90 days now, 800-477-9256, and ask for free information from an expert who also completed our program. program. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com. 800-477-9256 or ZeroDebtGuaranteed.com.
As many people know, ever since President Nixon took us off the gold standard, the U.S. dollar has been devaluating. What people don't know, however, is how this directly affects your personal finances. Is there a way to protect your portfolios from losing value? The answer to all of this is gold and silver. They both have maintained their purchasing power for 6,000 years. If you had $100,000 in cash and $100,000 in gold and silver back in 1913 and kept them until now, your cash would have the buying power of only $4,800. But your gold and silver would have the buying power of $3 million. The answer to protecting your assets is simple. Call John Ballman today at 1-800-686-2237, extension 169. Get all your questions answered before your money is worth zero. Call 1-800-686-2237, extension 169. Take action today while we still accept paper dollars for gold. That's 1-800-686-2237, extension 169.
As gardeners, we can all relate.
What do you do with all of the excess food that you grow?
Freezing or canning may have been the process you've used, but the good folks at Excalibur Dehydrator have a healthy alternative to preserve the fruits of your labor. The Excalibur Dehydrator will help you preserve your fruits and vegetables quickly and easily, so you don't have to worry about premature spoiling. You can also use your Excalibur Dehydrator year-round to make delicious jerky. And the best part? The foods you dehydrate are free from excess additives, salt, and preservatives, and that's something we can all do without. To learn more and to order your very own Excalibur Dehydrator, visit drying123.com and see how the Excalibur Dehydrator can help you preserve your favorite foods.
Mention coupon code GCN and receive a free book on how to preserve your foods.
Again, that's drying123.com, drying123.com, or call 1-800-875-4254. That's 1-800-875-4254 today.
We've got Lindsey Williams revealing his source, Mr. X, coming up in the next segment here for the first time ever. This is going to be very informative. He'll also be able to give us any other intel the gentleman gave him, but that he wasn't allowed to speak about until the gentleman left this plane of existence. Bankruptcy of the U.S. is a mathematical certainty, says former CEO of nation's 10th largest bank, John Allison, who for 2 decades served as chairman and CEO of BP&T. The nation's 10th largest bank told CNSnews.com it is a mathematical certainty that the United States government will go bankrupt unless it dramatically changes its fiscal direction. He went on to say that the $13 trillion in federal deficit, and it's a lot bigger than that, the $61.9 trillion long-term shortfall, and that's growing, is impossible mathematically to pay off. But the numbers we see of global derivatives are 1.5 quadrillion or bigger. And he went on to say that this quantitative easing is only going to accelerate this. Everybody's using that word. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, Bob Chapman. This is an acceleration. So what does bankruptcy look like, and how will we see this bankruptcy unfold? Will it be something that they never announce? It doesn't happen with a bang, but with a whimper? I mean, how does this unfold? What does bankruptcy mean, Bob?
Well, I think that they will not have something happen overnight. They're going to try to extend the problem that they've got in a way which doesn't allow them to lose power. And they do that by having a big meeting like the Smithsonian and the Plaza and the Louvre Accords, and all which happened in the 70s and 80s. As you can see, this problem is nothing new. And they'll revalue and devalue currencies against one another, and they'll multilaterally default on debt. And then